Hi and welcome to this part. We're going to look into edit mode and the tools used in edit mode. We know that we can use rotation, scaling and moving inside both object mode and edit mode, but there are a whole range of other tools available to us in edit mode while manipulating the mesh. So I'm just going to start with this default cube here, and we're going to tab into edit mode and deselect everything with A, just rotating around here. And the tools that we're going to look at is Extrude, Inset Faces, Bevel and Loop Cut. So let's start with Extrude region here. I'm just going to click that and I'm going to select a face. I can select multiple faces with Shift, select this top one, and you'll see that we get this manipulator here that is specific to this tool. Just as like the move tool here has this specific widget, so does the extrude tool got its widget. And we can just hover this plus here, and when it says shortcut tweak left, it means that press and hold whenever you see that tweak word. So I'll just drag and hold, click and hold, click and hold, drag, and we can start to extrude regions. And we can also select other parts like this, for instance, and we can select multiple faces like this. If we, for instance, take these two faces that are on two different angles, this widget here will show us which direction we will extrude. So it will be extruded in this direction, like that. And that is the basics of the extrude tool. Now you can also use the shortcut keys, so I'll just go back to the selection box here tool, just because, well, it's the default tool. And I'm just going to press E, which is the shortcut for extrude. So I just press E and I move my mouse and I confirm with clicking. And I can, while this is active, I can also hold Shift to kind of lower how far that is moving while I move my mouse, so I get more granular control. Okay, I'll just extrude that a couple of more times just because I can. And next we are going to look at the inset tool right here. So I'm just going to tab out of mode and delete this, Shift A to add new, or you can add up here. I'll just Shift A and I'll try to tail all the hotkeys that I'm pressing just to remind you of them. So we have a new cube and we tab into edit mode here, and we're going to look at the inset faces. So I'm going to select this top face here and this inset faces tool, and I'm just going to click and I'm just going to hold it and drag until I'm satisfied with the inset. And you can see that it created geometry all around, and the original face got shrinked into the middle here. We can do the same while having multiple faces selected. So you can do like that and inset. And also while holding, we can press, for instance, I, which will make it individual, but we still have to hold the mouse button, because if we drop it, it's confirmed. Okay, so that's something that makes it harder to use these tools, that you have to press and hold, and when you release, it's confirmed. Like in this instance, where I can hit I while the tool is active, I can see what keys and what functions of a tool is available up here, where it usually says user perspective. There will be a row here telling me what other functions are available. So I'll just select this face and click and hold and start dragging, and you see just above where it says user perspective up here, there is a row of additional tools that we use. So what I did was, when I'm still holding the key, when individual is on, every individual face will be insetted by itself like we did before. Now I only have one face here insetted, so I'm just gonna release that and go back here, select these two, press and hold, and press I while I still in hold to switch between those individual and combined. We can also use, let's see here, we can tweak the depth with the control while holding control. So I can press I and then I can hold control, and I'm still holding my left mouse button all the time. And these are the kind of things we can do with the inset tool. Next we'll look at the bevel tool, and I'll just delete this cube, add a new one, Shift A, tab in and out of object mode, or sorry, edit mode, and tab back in. Select, let's select all faces this time, and we will select the bevel tool. I'll click and hold, and you will see that we get this bevel, and you can see here that I can increase and decrease in the number of cuts, and I do that by just scrolling the mouse wheel. I'm still holding my left mouse button as long as this this line here is between the center point of the object and my mouse cursor. That indicates that I'm still holding the mouse. And I can hold Shift and I can scroll to increase the numbers. Now notice here that it's good practice to keep an even number if you're beveling like this. And the reason for that is that if you bevel every edge on an object and you maintain an equal or even amount of beveling lines, so let's try that. Now we're unequal and now we have an equal number. So just keep scrolling and stick to an even number. The reason for that is that if we have just beveling like this with no lines in between here, you will see that we end up with this triangle. And when we come to the next tool, I'm going to show you why triangles can be they can be painful sometimes when modeling. Though used at right time, they can be a godsend as well. So don't neglect triangles or what is known as n-gons just because someone tells you that quad faces, like faces that has 4 corners, is the only way to go, because it's simply not true. Triangles has their place, and so does n-gons. Now, using the bevel tool, I wouldn't recommend someone to bevel using this bevel tool like this, like, oh, I want to have some nice corners, so I'll just bevel this, and now I have slightly nice corners, because there is something called a modifier that does this way better in my opinion. However, the bevel tool can be used in combination with other tools here. For instance, if we bevel here, if we bevel one edge, let's see. Oh, actually, we're going to move forward to the next tool before I show you that. And we'll go into combining these tools. So let's select this next tool, which is a loop cut. And when the loop cut is activated, you can see that you can almost tell what it does. So it's going to cut a line through our existing mesh. Now, in order to be able to cut a line like this, we need to have quads, or otherwise Blender won't know which way to cut. So let's go back and do a bevel everything like this, so that we get triangles in the corners. And then let's take the loop cut tool and make a loop here. And you'll notice that if I try to make a loop here, it will just stop at this triangle. And that may or may not be what I want. And now I can loop through and go right across here and create, and create really weird geometry here that is not desirable at all. So we have to be a bit careful with triangles, or we may create this geometry that will be hard to work with later on. So try to stick to quads, use triangles and n-gons, n-gons being just 5 or more corners of a face. Let's go back to the tools we're working with. Now I stepped a bit forward here, so let's get back to the bevel tool, and I'll show you how to use that with the hotkeys. I'll tab out of edit mode, I'll delete this with X, X for deletion, Shift A, and then a new cube, tab into edit mode, and Control B is the hotkey for beveling. And like most of the other tools, I don't have to hold the left mouse button and release to confirm. Instead I click to confirm, so that is just way better, I think. So I can just scroll my wheel and increase those bevels. I can create almost like a sphere here if I want to, or I can create something more narrow. And let's add a loop cut as well, and the loop cut tool is Control and R. So Control R for loop cut, Control B for bevel, I for inset, and E for extrusion. So Control R, and you can see that the tool looks the same. I can just click, and I don't have to hold. I just click and move my mouse and click again to confirm. And I can also right click to place this right in the center. So I'll do that. I'll right click, and now I can use the bevel tool, Control B, to just create additional segments here in the middle. So I'll just drag out something like this, and from here I'll hold. We'll do a little bit of slightly more advanced selections. So if we hold Alt and press on an edge, we will select that edge all the way around. And then if I hit S, we can scale this, for instance, and then I can Control B and bevel this again. And then we have something that is again slightly more detailed. Okay, so to recap, E to extrude, or the extrude region tool, I for inset faces, B, Control B for beveling, Control R for loop cut. I don't know why that's Control R, but probably L was too far away, and C, Control C for cut is already copying. Okay, so there you have the most common and useful tools in edit mode to create more geometry, and I'll see you in the next part.